So if you're looking at therapy, you're looking at emotionality in some ways, even though I don't know how many people in here know anything about clinical psychology, but like if you look at APA, American Psychological Association books, or Guilford, or one of the big publishers of clinical psychology or psychotherapy books, the last few years there have been books appearing with the title of Psychotherapy and the Emotions. And it was like, oh, they don't really look at emotions. They look at diagnosis, and they look at medication, and they look at etiology, but hey, now they're starting to look at emotions. So naively I thought psychotherapy is all about emotions, but it turns out that in the mainstream it isn't. Which is another reason I think that Vygotsky is not very well known among psychotherapists or clinical psychologists, although that's been changing. So the way this therapy works, if you will, is that it's a group-oriented approach, which, you know, in some cases is two people. It's a very small group, the therapist and client. But the activity of the therapy is to create the group. This is a completely Vygotskyan idea, my Vygotsky's idea, because I think what he was talking about was the zone of proximal development isn't a space so much as it is an activity of people together creating the environment in which they can do what they're going to do. And this the PowerPoint one. What I did was I took down 4, I think it is, quotes from Vygotsky that are key to what I understand to be exciting and extremely relevant about his work to initiating or reinitiating or continuing learning. I want to start with the bottom. Okay? This is from Mind and Society. The search for method becomes one of the most important problems of the entire enterprise of understanding the uniquely human forms of psychological activity. In this case, the method is simultaneously prerequisite and product, the tool and the result of the study. That's become very important to the work that I and my colleagues do. Search for method. He's not saying method is something to be applied. He's saying method is something to create. Search for it. And he's saying that method is not, again, the tool, but it's simultaneously the tool and the result. So I think the ZPD is that kind of tool and result, the zone of proximal development. I think you create the environment, you create the ZPD, and creating the ZPD is simultaneously creating the result of the ZPD. Back, where does it take me? It takes me to my language development studies, to my PhD dissertation, to how do kids learn to talk. You have a baby, toddler, you have a mother, father, sister, grandmother, all day long in various ways. They are creating these little conversations. The mother says, oh, it's 11 o'clock. Are you hungry? And the kid says, Baba, Baba. And the mother says, you want your bottle? It's an amazing thing. The mother is speaking to someone she knows will not understand what she's saying, but she's performing it in such a way as to make it comprehensible, as if it's comprehensible. The baby, to use Vygotsky's words, creatively imitates the language that he or she hears. Baba. The mother says, oh, you want your bottle. What Fred Newman and I, Fred the creator of social therapy and co-developer of many of these ideas, realized we're trying to understand that. What is, oh, you want your bottle? Or in a social therapy group, what is several people talking and responding? And that is taking us to the second quote. The relationship of thought to word is not a thing, but a process. A movement from thought to word and from word to thought. Thought is not expressed, but completed in the word. We can, therefore, speak of the establishment, that is the unity of being and non-being, of thought in the word. The structure of speech is not simply the mirror image of the structure of thought. It cannot, therefore, be placed on thought like clothes off a rack. Speech does not merely serve as the expression of developed thought. Thought is restructured as it is transformed into speech. It is not expressed, but completed in the word. Sometimes I think that's the most important thing anyone has ever said. For people interested in development and learning. So, as we know, there have been various views of language and what it is, from a representational or correspondence view to a pragmatic view. I think Vygotsky's putting forth another view of what language is that's more closely associated with the view of the later Wittgenstein. That speaking is a form of life. It's an activity. And so what is Vygotsky doing here? I mean, I'm not saying he was conscious of doing this, but this is an alternative to an expressionist view of language. It's an alternative to the view that what we are doing when we are speaking or writing is expressing our thoughts or our feelings. He's saying, no, we don't express them. The word, speaking, languaging, completes them. It's a unity, a totality, as I was talking about earlier.